Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, today kind of fun and exciting video for you guys today, and that is because I am playing the recently updated Silent Hill PC port based upon the Silent Hill decompilation project. The developer on this Slick Among Us has updated this multiple times over the last week, the most recent hotfix update coming in about 7 hours ago. And as of today, you can play Silent Hill on your PC from start to finish, see every single FMV cut sequence, and see the credits scroll. I talked to 5 different people that all sent me this information, even though in the background I knew it was coming, and all 5 of them said they had beaten the game. And because I trust them and their opinions and they give me information, this thing is definitely something that you're just going to be able to sit down and enjoy today. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell. It definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. And be aware there is another Silent Hill PC port apparently in the planning stages, so I think by the time we're done with all of this, you're going to end up with 2 different Silent Hill ports on PC, and you're going to be able to pick and choose which one it is you like better and which one you want to play. But honestly, Silent Hill is a game that was in desperate need of a port, because honestly, going back to the PlayStation 1 version, if you don't have nostalgia for that game, it can feel a little bit rough around the edges and definitely a little bit janky. Now you will see that there are some gaps in the model, and that's because I am using an option to fix the perspective on the polygons. You're not going to have any wobble or anything else in this build, but it is a checkbox. If you want to have the wobble and you want the seams on James's model to go a little bit closer together, then you can actually turn that feature on or off at your discretion. And the nice thing is, something I love for captures at least, the launcher has an auto updater as well as the ability to jump into any particular map or level in the game and kind of progress from there. So for somebody like me who needs a lot of diverse footage but can't spend 8 hours playing the entire game, it definitely helps me out, and it is a very nice touch. Now, compared to the previous version I covered, the camera is pretty much buttoned up here. It's exactly where it needs to be, and it's no longer going to get lost in geometry or basically end up at the top half of the screen. The only bug that I really noticed that was a quote-unquote glaring issue, even it doesn't affect the fun or gameplay at all, is in some maps the blood ends up being blue or green and not red. My guess would be it's just a call to some sort of RGB value that is not being ingested correctly, because obviously you're going to make those colors up with math, so I think that that might just be something that needs to be slightly adjusted. But blue and green blood are a vibe, and again, it's not going to stop you from enjoying the game or playing it from start to finish, but you will see it come out in a couple of the different maps I'm playing around with here. And because I like to let everybody know how things are made, that way you can decide whether you like them or not, because again, I advocate for you making your own decisions. We just talk about what exists on the channel. This was done in conjunction with Claude, and no, I don't know the percentage, I just know that it is human and Claude combined. So if that's something that you don't mind, that's totally cool. If it's something that you do mind, you definitely don't have to play this one. But again, I'm here to give you guys the news about what exists, and you can decide what to do with that. And when the next Silent Hill PC port that's in development starts having builds that can be tested, I will definitely talk about that one as well. And honestly, for me personally, I like a good Silent Hill original experience, and now that it's on PC, it is a better experience than the original, at least if you want a more modern kind of quality of life improvement to the game. Because don't get me wrong, DuckStation does a great job emulating it, but in DuckStation, using actual enhancements or widescreen at certain points in the game will crash the entire emulator, so you can't play from start to finish. And even though Bloober Team is making a Silent Hill remake, and I am excited about that because personally, I thought Silent Hill 2 remake was a pretty good time, it is going to totally shift the game as to what we know it to be. You're going to get new voice acting, you're going to get new lines, and obviously you're going to get brand new graphics, but it's one of those things, the overall tone, that kind of pixelated, grainy imagery of the original Silent Hill is really what made this game a success, what made the franchise a success, and that is something that is absolutely going to be lost in a remake, because it's not possible to remake a game and keep 100% of the original vibes intact. And even if the vibes of the remake are impeccable, they will still be different, so it's great that we have something like the original Silent Hill along with a PC port now to live alongside a potential remake. But let's go into the first of 2 quote-unquote soundtrack samples. Again, mostly environmental audio with some machine tones in the background, but you can hear the audio quality, and I'll be right back with a lot more Silent Hill. So, I mean, that sounds like Silent Hill to me, but you may comment down below and you tell me what you think, because I always love to say in videos, I have two tin ears and I'm really not quite sure when audio isn't slightly perfect. But you would see in that soundtrack sample that the blood coming out was blue. That's definitely something that does need to be adjusted. And even though this thing is 100% playable from start to finish, the developer is not advertising this thing is quote unquote done. So you're definitely going to be seeing some more improvements and some more enhancements in the future. But I will say the nicest part is got to be the launcher that you actually use at the beginning, because it does have that auto updater and you want to update it outside of GitHub, because some of the nightly hotfixes are not in the mainline build. So when you download this one, you decide to play it, definitely make sure you hit update in the launcher to get the most recent files. It'll install them for you automatically and you'll be off to the races with no issues whatsoever. And then from there you can pick your aspect ratio. You can do 4:3, you can do 16:9. I think I set ultra wide aspect ratios there as well, but I don't really capture for YouTube on that format unless the game requires it. Additionally, like I said, you get the perspective correction and a couple other visual enhancements as well. But you can play this thing at 4:3 at standard resolution with the polygon wobble included, and just basically treat it like it is a version of Silent Hill that came out on PC back in the day. It just happens to run on Windows 10 and Windows 11 without any issues, versus trying to get an old PC executable to actually work. And as here comes up under the carousel here, you'll see the build transitions nicely into the FMV video and then back out to the gameplay. And now I'm thinking to myself, did I actually call Harry James earlier in the video? If I did, I'm sure I've already seen 24 comments by it. And yes, Video Game Esoterica sometimes gets his names mixed up, especially because I was talking about the Silent Hill 2 remake. I'm sure I got James's head stuck in my head and probably said that. But honestly, these projects are a vibe, and Silent Hill is definitely one that could use it. No, it's not going to make it feel like a game that came out in 2026. Nothing ever would. And I'm not exactly sure why she got her arm stuck up in that direction right there. I'd have to replay some footage from the original game to see if that's something that can happen. So my basic point is, you can play Silent Hill from start to finish, but of course, while it's still in active development, it is still going to be something that you're going to encounter a bug here and there on. Nothing game breaking, nothing progress breaking. You're able to save the game, come back to it, do whatever you want. But I just want you guys to be aware that just because you can play it from start to finish does not mean that the developments are over. But this to me is a really fun vibe. Kind of feels like one of those games that comes out in the modern era that tries to be both a PlayStation 1 aesthetic as well as using something like the Unity engine. But this is PlayStation 1 assets and textures made to work on PC as a PC port based upon that decompilation. And just so you know, a decompilation to PC port is a source port, and it is different than a static recompilation. At the end of the day, they all just end up as executables. You double click on your PC, but I'd like you to know that. Let's do one more quote unquote soundtrack sample, and I'll be right back with more. So the only fundamental quote-unquote flaw in this build, and that is nothing to do with the actual code, is the fact that if you do use the level select to skip around, test things, and capture footage, you're going to end up in a situation where you're completely underpowered and you do not have enough ammo to actually get through that area. And that is not some sort of flaw with the actual game code or any of the project files. It's just there for testing, and honestly, you get yourself into a bit of a pickle. But for me, it's useful. For you, you're going to want to play the game from start to finish. And I'm sure in the next day or two, you're probably going to see that Silent Hill hits that 100% decompilation status, because right now it's basically 100%, but we can't quite say it's hit it yet. And like I said earlier, you're going to get a second port of this as well. I know there is one planned, and it'll be really interesting to kind of see how that all works together in conjunction, because that's something that happens very often now. You'll have source ports and static recomps of N64 games, and they'll basically be the same, but have a slightly different design philosophy. And yes, those trees, they're not sure where those fronds are going. Definitely still a few rough edges here. But honestly, Silent Hill is all about rough edges. It is a gritty, grimy world, and I'm sure this thing will improve. So if you want to play it today, the link is in the description below. Pop over to GitHub, download the actual mainline release, and then from there, you want to go into the updater and launcher, and it'll tell you if there's updates or not. Just install them, go ahead, and you'll be playing the game. But sure that we're done. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.